Welcome everyone to the Backstage community session, the February edition. I hope whatever you're joining on the planet, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having a lovely day. For today's monthly community session, we've got a packed agenda. I'm gonna quickly do our usual run of running through the release highlights. I'm gonna make a quick community update on from our end on OSS, and then touch base quickly on the BackstageCon. And then we have a special guest today. We've got Volvo joining us today to talk more about their adoption journey, but more on that in a few minutes. And then, as always, at the end, we're going to wrap with a Q&A. All right, let's see. We, as of last night, or last evening, so to speak, on the London time, we have shipped 148 mainline release of Backstage, which comes with a bunch of changes. We kind of like preserve this trend this year. Each month, we've got a lot of breaking changes, but lots of good things happening to the project. So I'm going to try to run through them quickly. We've got catalog extension points stabilized. This shouldn't come as a surprise since this has been announced for a while and it's been riding the weekly releases, but several catalog extension points have now graduated from alpha to stable. This is a big step toward a more mature and predictable catalog API service. We also have stricter API rules in the new frontend system, which is also a breaking change, so feel free to check the change log for more instructions there. The new frontend system now rejects unsupported cross-plugin API overrides instead of just warning. Mind you, this change was introduced, I think the behavior in last release in 147, instead of a warning now, sort of like there's errors in place for that as a follow-up. Also, I don't remember at what point do we stop calling this the new frontend system? Was the deadline the KubeCon this year? I don't remember, Ben. Patrick, I keep asking myself, I know he's like, get into the habit of stop saying it's a new frontend system. It's the frontend system. Nevertheless, commitment to be accountable there. We've also introduced support for the Client ID Metadata Documents. It's a new MCP-based auth approach that evolves beyond the, my God, I almost said the word classic DCR, MCP protocol invented last year, and I almost used the word classic there. The dynamic line registration, also a lot of early days in the AI wave, a lot of things are moving. So this is just another way for us to enrich in there and keep up with what's going on. Also, we've got experimental refresh token support. Clients can now request refresh tokens using the offline access scope when enabled. Gives us more flexibility for long-lived integration and secure sessions. There's going to be a bunch of new front-end system updates in here. As you probably see, we've been chiming with them with the last couple of releases. Obviously, it's by design, maturing the system in there. The testing in the new front-end system just got better. We revamped utilities with stronger mock and route support, making plugin testing smoother and more predictable. The plugin titles and icons can now, the plugins can now define titles and icons directly, enable richer navigation and more polished app experience, something that we've asked for a while, it was asked before. And last but not least, on this slide, the homepage now supports the new front-end system. It's another milestone toward full adoption of the modern architecture. And I want to say the home plugin has been asked for a while. So just wanted to give a large shout out to Adam. On the other side of the planet, thank you so much for adding support for this. Appreciate the contribution. Moving on to the next slide, what do we have here? The UI cleanup in the new front-end system. Again, more changes in there. We removed the summary card type and multi-attachment extension points to reduce complexity and confusion. We also have a new Backstage filter predicated package. So all of the reusable predicate types were extracted now in a standalone package. This is a recent change, promoting consistency and reuse across plugins. Now, the new Backstage UI components, a little bit of an update on that as well. We've been having quite a bit of them in the last few releases, which is amazing. We've got new components like alert and full page, destructive button props, and use table improvements continue evolving. Appreciate the contribution from Gustav, long-term contributor there. Appreciate for you doing that. Thank you. Also, there's a new experimental SCM event handling in Backstage. We've got new experimental catalog service enabling generic SCM event ingestion. If you want to play with that, go give that a spin. It's obviously a step toward a more flexible event-driven catalog updates. Module federation is also by default enabled for all the CLI generated apps. Long time coming. Again, no flag needed to do this anymore. A big milestone for scalable front-end architecture. We've been talking about this in the community for a while. Just wanted to say a huge shout out to David for this. And last but not least on the list, we've got Azure Entra authentication support. We've got added Azure connection types for Azure Postgres SQL with Microsoft Entra authentication. Thank you, Arjan. Sorry, hopefully I pronounced the name right for this contribution. Again, thank you for that. With that, I will say, as always, as with each month, a huge thank you to maintainers and contributors and our overall Backstage community for the hard work in getting this release. Yet another one bites the dust. Sorry, let me admit that. Cool. That said, I do want to cover a small community update. You've probably seen a couple of them this year. We are revamping a little bit our governance model, trying to encourage more of the community members to empower, both encourage and empower them to do more in the project. So as if you haven't seen this, that's the number of the issue that Patrick opened. We are launching a new pull request review workflow. And we are inviting all the community members to become officially Backstage reviewers. As a reviewer, your feedback directly shapes the PR prioritization and speeds up other contributions. Plus, as a sort of like give back to the community, the incentive doing so, or in doing so, rather say, that means your own PRs get also prioritized. We're looking to improve a little bit our times in how we land the PRs and sort of like make this a more open endeavor for all the amazing contributors that we've been having over time in Backstage. So there's no minimum time commitment. I do want to say that out loud. Review what you can and help the project get better. The only prerequisite is that I believe you need to be a org member before. Patrick's sort of like issue documents, all of that. I've seen a lot of interest and enthusiasm from all of you. Please keep them coming. Looking forward to working and fleshing the project more together going forward. And last but not least, I'm constantly doing this, I guess, each monthly release, whether we're 6 months away from these events or 1 month away. I suppose just a reminder for you all that the KubeCon and BackstageCon are happening in the next month. We're going to have a nice Backstage presence in there. We're going to have good talks. So, and a couple of you, I think, for the communities are also going to be there. So looking forward to meeting you and interact with you at the in Amsterdam in a month. All the sessions and all the calendars and everything up to speed, so you can have a glance at the schedule, and looking forward to see you there. Now, that said, I will wrap on our usual agenda, and I did want to hand the floor over to Mingdao. Do you want to take the scene from here and make a quick intro? And I can pass on the screen.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Mingdao and Tom together. Can you hear us? Audible?
Yep, perfectly.
Great. And I will also sharing my screen. Here we go. Let me know when you can see it.
It works well now. I can see you.
Perfect. Okay, so let's get started.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Tom, and I'm a digital product area owner for Backstage/line manager, working closely with Mingdao.
Yeah, and my name is Mingdao, origin from China, moved to Sweden 10 years ago. I'm now the digital product manager for Backstage. So we are together with Tom, we are together leading kind of the adoption for Backstage in Volvo. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of Volvo, probably when we say Volvo, the first thing you might come to your mind is the Volvo car, but that's not where we are from. We are from Volvo Group, which is basically, as you could see, the product lineup is much more diverse. So one thing could work in Volvo cars might not work for Volvo Group. So we are from Volvo Group, and basically we we like to explain the journey that we have done in the last few years. And basically, our journey started during COVID, when our leaders realized that if we continue working as a traditional manufacturing company, China will eat us for breakfast. We need to be more like a tech-driven company. We need to move more to the services. But not just talk about this, they created a very ambitious target a few years ago, which is basically more than 50% of our revenue should come from digital. And that was very, very exciting and at the same time, I don't know, energizing for us as a target. But they not just created a target, they basically allocated very good budget for this. So we could cherry pick people and kickstart the journey. But we got very much inspired by BMW, and we can tell that we are probably doing the greatest shift in the history of the transformation. And hopefully we can inspire you guys today with our journey, or maybe you can avoid some pitfalls, or at least we can help you with some kind of inspiration. So let's jump into it.
Yes, good. So the first thing we try or started is introduce the golden parts concept. So as Tom showed in the nice picture from Volvo Group, we're very diverse from the product line. So it's so many different business. And then you can imagine from the beginning, everyone tried to build their own kind of IT or software system in their own way. And then you can imagine so many different choices be made and so on and so on. It's kind of working at the beginning, but by time it's just become heavier and heavier because we basically reinvent the wheels in many times from different places in the company. So that's why basically the golden parts concept be introduced. So to avoid that, we hope we have one kind of golden parts and everyone can reuse by that to both keep it consistent, but also to make sure like our product be secure, safe, compliance with everything, and also easy the developer life, make their life easier. So that's why the golden parts concept be introduced, as Tom mentioned, like from COVID this time. And then, we believe that we get the key to success. We're so exciting, when we start planning. As you can see from this picture, then when we start execution, it's not as that good. We believe that's a good, but when we try to roll it out in the company, we get a lot of pushback or resistance. There's many reasons behind, and the adoption rate is very low, and like very few people use it. In the end, it's more back to like normal business. So basically, it's not so success. Of course, there's many reasons behind, but I will just highlight two things here. One is like we take this mode is more like command and control because we are the central team who like basically define the golden path. So we believe we have the best things. So you should just follow it. But all the product teams, they have their own kind of schedule priority. Of course, business first. So they have so many different reasons to postpone that. And second, I think maybe even more important, it's very hard to find one shoes fit for everyone, especially for a big company as us and so diverse on different tech stack, like technical solution and so on and so on. And this basically not work.
So just imagine, guys, we spent so much money, so much time to find the best tools, the best approaches, and at the end of the day, not so many people were using this, and we were thinking, what's wrong? What's what we could do? And basically, we needed to go back to the foundations, and then we have to understand what transformation means. And I mentioned China, and when you going back or looking back in the Chinese history, and when it comes to transformation, who could be the best role model for transformations? Bruce Lee, of course. And when Bruce Lee said that, "Be water, my friend," I get super inspired. And basically, he explained this: if you put water in the cup, it becomes the cup. So the first thing what we had to understand when it comes to transformation, to understand what the organization needs. Yes, we have some tools, but is this really what our developers want to use? Is the right time to implement those kind of tools? Do they have those kind of support and everything? So we really need to understand what they need, and we're able to find the right fit for this. But continue the analogy that Bruce Lee gave us. Not just adaptability was our key for success, but the flow. Here again, if you look at the water, if you like pour a glass of water in the rock, the water, it finds its own way in a universal way to go to the less resistance. And then, so it's basically we need to focus on the flow where we can have the biggest impact. And the third thing was the consistency. Here again, continue the analogy with the water. So some things cannot be done over the weekend. Some things requires more time, more care. Like water can, crush rocks by time. So some things requires a bit more time and more patience and incremental or incremental approach, for instance. And the last but not least is the resistance. So whatever you do, if you deal with the change management, you always have to face with the resistance. So understanding the resistance here again, if the water hit the wall, it finds a way to penetrate. But water is not doing anything harsh or strong. It's always gentle. It's always smooth. So we understand we need to make a fundamental change. And so we had to have a new mindset. And of course, we couldn't hire Bruce Lee, but we had the new customer-centric leadership approach. So it's basically our leaders are very strongly focusing on the customer-centric approach, which means, first, of course, we have to understand who is our customer. And in our case, it was easy because our customers are our developers. And the second thing that you might ask once you understand your customer, like what they want. And we implemented the developer happiness. So we wanted to make sure they are happy. And of course, we had to understand why they are unhappy. And then they want to have freedom. They wanted to have autonomy. They wanted to make decisions. But how can you have that balance, providing freedom for our developers, but at the same time looking Volvo as a very heavily regulated organization? How can you fit these things together? That was the tricky part. And that's the next step is that Mingdao is going to tell in the next slide.
Yes, so as you see the title here, we still believe the golden parts is the way to go, but we rebuild it with a new mindset, as Tom just showed you in the previous page, and of course, most important in this session with Backstage. So we will show you three kind of examples how we use in Backstage in Volvo Group. And the reason we introduced Backstage in this golden parts journey, because as I mentioned earlier, we are a very big and diverse company. But we want to provide a universe kind of developer experience, no matter where they are, in which part in the company, what kind of tech stacks they're using. And we find Backstage a very good fit for it. It both give you like one-stop shop concept or experience, but also with the plugin architecture, it's so flexible, so give us the possibility to really fit into different needs in the same company. So we will start from here a little bit from Volvo Group perspective, how it will be looks like. Maybe it's not very new for you, but it's how we use it in our company. So we want to cover the full life cycle for the developer in Volvo Group. Let's imagine we have a new developer or new developer teams to onboard it in our company. They need to get the necessary tools to do their job. When they get tools, they start to build something, and more often in the daily work, they more manage their software. So to get access, it should not be too complex. It should be just be easy. So we provide like a marketplace, like basically provide all the tools in our company. You should just be a few clicks, you can get what you need. You will see a demo soon later. Build software. As a big company, we also build a lot of software by ourselves. Here just one simple example, like web application, backend, frontend, database, also of course infra, networking, and so on and so on. You can do it a lot now, like with AI and everything, right? But at a big enterprise, we have a lot of rules, especially on infrastructure networking. I guess many of you not surprised with that, like just to open like a port on a firewall. It might take days or even weeks. It always depends on how your internal flow looks like. We can respect that reality, but we don't want our developer really to suffering from that. So what we're using is to use a software template capability from Backstage. We basically build that template with the golden parts from scratch, which means people can create like new web application, like in this example, in a few minutes, fully complying with the Volvo Group internal standard, and then they can focus on building new business or maybe some innovation idea instead of spend time on the infrastructure, networking, and others. And then let's say we build software, and then what's next? And this will also be a very powerful tool in our company. We have so many different platforms internally. For example, we are the truck manufacturer, so we have like big aftermarket systems, supply management systems. All of them have the internal system. And this system usually be used by thousands of people, managed by, let's say, a size of hundreds of developers. And they have like hundreds of components or subsystem. And sometimes just to understand who on what's the status, and who to contact if something goes wrong, it's not easy. So you basically use the software catalog concept in Backstage. So it's not surprise for you, I'm sure. So like easy to find ownership, easy to find the like different links, easy to find the relations. This is actually most powerful. This is a simple example, but we have examples, as I mentioned, have hundreds of components. So it's super easy to use this way, always up to date, find relevant information, and so on and so on. And also this also be super good for us because, as I mentioned, we have different tech stacks. One platform maybe have totally different tech stack compared to another. But with this kind of extendable plugin framework, it's very easy for us to fit for all the needs in the company. Yes, so that's a little bit like how the Backstage looks like and our vision in the Volvo. And then, as we mentioned, you can imagine, that kind of model we promote, it'd be a lot be used, but still a lot not. But when we get started, let's say 2 years ago, how can we really get people buying the Backstage idea? We need to find some really common case everyone can use. And that's where Tom will tell you more about our story.
Yeah, so next example that we want to show you is the access provisioning. So quick wins, low-hanging fruits, or biggest frustration that we got for developers. It's basically get access to the tools. So as I mentioned, like freedom, but having the regulated organization at the same time. So the process was very much regulated. Sometimes things took months until our developers get something. That was super frustrated. And then implementing access provisioning in Backstage, as you could see, our developer now is happy, but he grew a beard. But the access provisioning, of course, much more sophisticated. Could be auto provisioning, or could be like a fast approval process. And it was very interesting and probably the key game changer for us, and very tactical approach to add tools to the Backstage to provide access to our developers, like for instance, GitHub Copilot. So our developers had to go to the Backstage to request access to the GitHub Copilot. That means they could get access very quickly, but at the same time, they got to know what Backstage is. So they got familiar with the Backstage, they got interested about Backstage, and they might wanted to migrate their own processes to Backstage as well. So in terms of transformation, basically we could kill two flies with one stone with the access provisioning. So, but let's see how it works in real life. So this is basically recorded demo. You can just go to the search, click on the search, type GitHub, and you see the available solutions. And then you can just click on the review, click create, and then in a couple of seconds, you have access to GitHub accounts. Some people might think that it's like, yeah, that's easy, but for a big organization, that was a big game changer for us for sure. But let's see what else we have.
Good. So now you see like a bit our vision in the end, also some quick wins. That's basically our start point. And then what bring us to the next level. So we think the collaboration culture is super, super important. We call it build by the community for the community. So we already show a little bit of different templates. So here's just be a little bit more. We'll not go details, but you can see we have many, many templates now. And actually today, 70% of the contribution of these templates is from we call non-platform teams. They're from basically everywhere, from community, and build it for themselves. We believe this will be super powerful because we as a central platform team, we actually a bit far from their daily work. Who will be the best one to know their daily point? It's actually themselves. And if they'll be themselves to build it, that will be even better because they know what's the problem to try to solve and it's be good or not. So with this kind of approach, this really accelerates everything because both is accelerated development since we will not become the bottleneck. We're just enablers. They build by themselves. They are not waiting for us. And also be scaled easily because basically more people and they will solve it by themselves. So we can basically support like 10 times more users with the same size of our central team. And also the adoption not be a challenge because when it's created by themselves, we don't need to convince them to use. They will just use it. So that's be super, super powerful.
Yep. And this basically what's also like to show you. We like to measure everything that we do. And this is basically the visits of the Backstage sites. You could see it was like almost like zero at the very quite some time. And then we get a big boost. And then the steady line, it's more about like the holiday break and then another boost and then another holiday break. And so this is something that we constantly revise, and that's those numbers telling us that we are doing something really, really good for our developers because they are still coming back. They are still benefiting in the change, which is really, really good. So now it's time to wrap up. And so some takeaways that we wanted to highlight for you, depending where you are in the journey. It's really important to get the customer-centric mindset, understand what the customer wants. We are talking about like technological implementations, but there is always people on the other side. You need to take care of the people. You need to take care of the what's in it from me, for the developers, for the IT people, and take care of the mindset. That was also very important for us. So you cannot underdo this. The next thing is if you haven't done the journey to get understanding or implementing Golden Path or Backstage, we highly recommend. It brings clarity, speed, quality across the organization. So we highly recommend put it in your radar if you haven't done it yet already. And last but not least, be water, my friend.
Yes, good. So that's our last page. So if you have any question, we can take in the Q&A, but also we put our LinkedIn barcode here. So if you're interested, we can also get connected and share experience and learn from each other. Yes, I think that's all. Let's hand over back to Mihai and let's see if any questions. We are more than happy to share our experience.
Thank you so much for this. Actually, happy to, since my slide is just Q&A, maybe you leave yours since this is probably a very good, you can leave this for a little longer in case folks want to use that. I just wanted to ask, I'll voice over my, thanks a lot for the presentation. I'll voice over my question. Yeah, I think if I got the number right, 70 plus plugins, I think you mentioned, contributed internally. Just out of curiosity, which ones are the most popular out of
Uh,
those?
um,
You mean the one from built from community or from product
Yeah.
or
Uh, oh, hold on. Or maybe I misunderstood. Hold on. Let me see.
yes.
Other contributions. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought internal plugins. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, that's the internal plugins. I mean, in the snapshot, we only show the templates, but actually we also have a few internal plugins as well. And actually all the plugins is done by different teams in the company. And for the software template, like 70% is from different organizations or teams and so on.
Got it. Thank you. Any questions from the community? Sorry, I jumped right away with mine. Anyone else in the room? All right, going once. Just pausing, going twice. Oh, there are a couple of them in the Q&A. Do you want me to voice them out, or do you want to take them from there? Mingdao.
Sorry, do you mean any? Maybe I stop sharing. I can see.
oh, in the chat.
Okay, I'm not.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions coming up in the
Oh,
chat.
good.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm reading. We are reading now. Yeah, the most
Oh
popular
yeah,
plugin.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yes.
Okay, I will try to. What plugin have you found of the value besides Godfather? Okay, so do you mean these plugins from the native spot like Backstage in the community or? Let me think. Yeah, we actually have one plugin actually from Spotify. That's the sound check. I think maybe someone from Spotify can share more, but we use it a lot because as a big company, as diverse, but we need like a common standard for quality. And actually, we use this plugin from Spotify, which we are very happy with, to give us a one way to tracking the quality across the whole company. That's as also Tom mentioned earlier. Like we have one standard, but also we get freedom to the team to go. So I think that's actually at least in our context be very helpful. And of course, other one would be, I would say, except the scaffolder would be the tech doc. I mean, tech doc also be a very popular one. And again, that's also be a low-hanging fruit. Almost all the teams, can adopt, even they maybe not adopt for everything like software catalog, others, but tech doc can always be the first breakthrough to start to use. And the bigger the size of the development team are, usually the mess of, the more mess for the documentation. And with tech doc, that's be much better everything like a documentation as a code and so on and so on. So that I think that's be the another one. Yep. So you use the templates that are available and then adopt to what it needed. Yes. Yes. So we start with kind of the core plugins from the community, and then since our different team have different needs, then we basically try to educate them to say, okay, this is not an out-of-box solution. It is not only use something from our team. But actually, you can create template by doing this and that. So we at the beginning we do a lot of education awareness session to give example what you can do, and of course more technical session how you do it, and then of course at the beginning it'll be slow, and then but you will have find some good guys, have some good ideas. And then, of course, we have close collaboration with them, help them to be success, to fulfill their needs, and then they can become very good success story or role models. And then we actually have similar community session, but internally in the company, almost like a once a month. And we invite them to share their practice. We also copy the mode like this, which of course share our latest feature, but also invite from our internal community to share their practice, template, plugins, whatever. What's the problem they try to address? But because that's more involved context, so other team can real easy to buy in. Okay, you actually can do by this and that. Then it's like a snowball, it will be more and more team that comes. At the beginning, we're really hunting hard to find, okay, is there any good one? But now it's not a problem. It's a long queue. People can like waiting there to share their experience. So I think that's super, super good. Okay, what's the next question? Yeah, did I cover all the question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, I think you mentioned both. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Let's maybe pause from experience. Yeah, some folks take some time to write, so let's just pause. Also, if I haven't mentioned this already, feel free to also raise your hand if you want to, if you want to engage directly. Um, that also can work. All right. Unless someone's furiously typing, I think that's all the questions we got for you both. Thank you so much for that. Thank you again for walking us through your experience and how you use Backstage and how you adopted that and the success story of that internally. Appreciate you coming on stage today. Before we wrap, I just wanted to pause for a second and also ask if there are questions for the core maintainers here, more related to the mainline release or anything, or like any other questions that folks have, as we always do for the more broadly Q&A. I'll pause for a few seconds if there are any folks raising their hands. All right. I don't see any other follow-up questions unless someone's typing. I'll be going once. If there are no other further questions, we can call this a wrap and take some time back, everyone. Thank you so much again to both of you for joining us and representing Volvo. Thanks again for all the community and core maintainers for shipping out the 148. Take good care of you, wherever you are on the planet. Have a lovely day. Thank you.